Hi, it's Therese and I'm here for Penny Black with a Gimme 5 video, and today I have some clean and simple Christmas highlight cards. So what I'm going to show you here is that I've chosen 5 different stamps. They're all large cling stamps and all quite different patterns, but I'm actually going to be using these as a background. So some people get a little bit intimidated by these stamps, and to be honest, they can be if you wanted to colour them up. They have a lot of shading in them, so they are actually easy to colour, easier than you think. But today what I thought I'd do is actually stamp them all out in one colour on a piece of cardstock that is cut the same size as my card front. So the coloured ink that I'm using today is it's a smoky grey. It's a VersaFine ink, so it's a pigment ink, and it stamps out beautifully. And it's a kind of a neutral, so that means that I can put anything with these stamps. I'm using my Misty because they're big stamps, and because they're cling stamps, I have had to take out the padding layer that's in the Misty. There's 2 layers. If I was using clear stamps, I would have left it in. I'm also using my corners to help me fit the stamps on the piece of cardstock that I want. Alright, my first card today is using the Christmas Glow stamp set, which is the tree one. The sentiment I've got here is from a holiday snippets set. For each of the cards, I'm keeping the basic same layout. So this is the panel that I've just stamped with the Christmas Glow. I'm using the lines on my Fiskars trimmer, and each time I'm making a cut here, I wanted to create a border panel so I can pop up the center. I'm actually lining the outside of my cardstock with the same line on the right hand side of the card. So that way, as I'm making these cut lines, that's going to be the same width from the outside in. I'm being careful not to cut too far on the panel. If you were wanting to be perfect, then you could actually draw a mark so that you didn't cut too far. But what I tend to do is not cut quite what I need, and then I can come in with the blade afterwards and finish it off. So the center panel here, what I'm doing is popping it up with some fun foam. I've added some adhesive. I'm using both the ATG and also some score tape to hold the fun foam in place, and I want to pop it up with 2 layers of fun foam. So that's why I'm using the score tape in the middle, and I'll pop another layer of fun foam, and I just like to use my scraps here. It's a great way to use your scraps. And by popping up this centerpiece, it just gives a clean and simple card a bit of interest, and I like the dimension. Alright, so this is my actual card base now, and it's a top fold card, and I'm adding lots of adhesive. And the reason that I'm doing that is it means that I didn't have to add further adhesive on the back of my double layers of fun foam. So the outside panel can just be adhered directly on the card front, and then so can the panel with my 2 layers of fun foam behind it, because the adhesive is already there. Now I've popped up my little heat emboss sentiment, and the last thing to do is just to add my highlight details, and on this card it's the Nouveau drops. Now I've used 2 different colours here. They're the apple green and the red berry, that's it. And I'm just going to set that aside to dry while I create the rest of my cards. Because if you're anything like me, it's hard not to touch the drops to see if they're dry. So if I forget about it for a while, I'm all good. Alright, my next card uses the bells, and this is one of my favourites, I think. It's kind of a classic design. This is called the Jingle Bells Trio, and I've stamped a sentiment on that from the Love and Peace set, which is sentiment set released last year, and I stamped that out in some Onyx Black ink, and then now I want to add my highlight, and the highlight for this card is a glittery bow, And this is die cut from a set called Jingle Bells, and it's a really delicate bow. I did try adding a micro glue dot, but they're a little bit dry. So I came in with some matte medium as well, just to be sure. And I thought it'd be fun to add a rhinestone right to the center of the bow, and I did add some liquid glue there as well because of the glitter. And I really like how this card turned out. I can make a zillion of these. These bells are beautiful. Alright, next card. Speaking of beautiful, is this snowman. Isn't he cool? I have seen him coloured up and he looks incredible. But today I thought I'd just stamp him out as the background and then make the highlight his berries on his hat. I was thinking about maybe colouring his scarf or the berries, but then I saw this berry die cut which came from the Christmas poinsettia cutout set, and I thought it'd be fun to actually add a bit of dimension as well with this die cut. So I'm just colouring it up with some Copics. I did need to colour a couple of them up just to make sure that I covered his berries that are on the stamp, and then I added a sentiment that was from the same die cut set, and I cut the word joy out of some black cardstock and just adhered that directly on the front of my card and toppled the O over just for fun. I hope I get a chance to colour this fella up this year. He looks awesome. Wish me luck. Alright, my next card. This is an older stamp, but it's in that similar style. This one's called Scarlet Majesty. So it's a poinsettia, and what I thought I'd highlight here was just some of the center leaves, and I wanted to make them green even though they would probably be red or salmon or white. I just thought the green would look nice and kind of go with that whole theme that I've got going on here with the grey background, highlights of green and a pop of red. So I'm adding the Prismacolor pencils directly to the cardstock, colouring over where the leaves are and using the pencils to blend themselves out. I'm not being too fussy here, but I did actually colour one of the bigger leaves here only because I wanted there to be 5 leaves. It just looks it looked a bit better. I thought it looked a bit odd just having 4 of the little leaves there. I will list all the colours of the Copics and the Prismas that I've used at my blog and link everything there. So the links will be in the description below to the blog. The sentiment here is from a Critter set actually, and it's called Gather Round, and out came the pearls. It's like pearls and rhinestones in one set of cards. I know, it's so old school. I love it. And of course I had to add 5 of those as well. Okay, now it's time for my last and final card. This one I decided to make a landscape. It is a top fold card and I've already pieced the base together, but my sentiment here is also from an older set. This is called Ornamental Branch, and this is what I decided to use as the highlight on the card. I've popped it up on some fun foam using some matte medium after cutting it out in some red cardstock, and just using my liquid glue again so that I can adhere it directly to the front of my card. I did think about matting it up on some dark grey or black, but it just looked better with the white and keeping it nice and clean and simple. And as a final touch, I've added some lime sprinkles. And I've also added a micro glue dot to the end of my Marvy jewel picker, and it's not happy. It's too sticky now. I'm going to have to rectify that. And that's all of my cards today. Thanks for joining me. And don't forget, there are lots of ways that you can connect with Penny Black. So like today's video and subscribe to the Penny Black YouTube channel. Visit Penny Black on Facebook and Instagram, and also check out their blog and website. I've linked to all of those in the YouTube description below, along with the link to my personal blog listing all the exact supplies used in making these cards. I hope you've enjoyed this episode of Gimme 5, same but different cards with Penny Black, and I look forward to seeing you here next time. Bye.